Hi, guys, and welcome to episode 4 of the Lazy Vagabonds podcast with me, Jordan.
And me, Dan.
Okay, and in today's episode, we've now finished with our Melbourne adventure and we're kind of out of money now. So we decided we needed to move to a farm, our second farm, actually. If you remember back, we were at a farm for an extended period of time of approximately 2 days, 1 day's farm work.
Yeah,
And yeah, we had such a great time the first time. We thought we'll go for a second round.
yeah, we're just like, no money again. Let's do this.
It went so great the first time. We didn't blow thousands of dollars. So yes. So yeah, we booked our tickets. Woke up early in the morning. Got on the bus. I think we got on the bus.
Yeah, we got on a bus
Yeah, we got on the bus.
for 9 hours.
Oh, it was something crazy. It was only was it one bus or two buses?
It was one bus, but it
One
stopped
bus.
off in the middle of nowhere
Oh,
for
it
us to have
did.
a break.
Yeah, it stopped off in a bunch of random places, and every single place
Was
looked
tiny and
exactly
shit.
the same. It was like proper barren landscapes and just because you think, oh yeah, we're gonna go on like a little road trip. I'll just kind of look out the window and see some amazing sights. It's not. It's just
It's
desert.
kind of it's like really dry land with
Yeah,
trees hanging on for dear life.
pretty much. It's those trees just like look so starved. They're just on
They're
their
very
last.
spread. Like the
Oh,
branches are like
they're so
that.
twiggy. Yeah, they're so twiggy and
They're thin. They don't
yeah, and
have much girth.
they do not. They are like, yeah.
They're pencil trees.
They are pencil trees. And something else that you notice when you're driving along on your little route as well, every 100 meters you see a little kind of dead kangaroo just hanging out in the road. So
Yeah.
that's fun.
And they have the little forest fire gauges everywhere
Oh,
as
they
well to say
do.
like, oh, it's very dry and hot here. Don't
Yeah.
start a fire.
Well, I don't think it's a people starting fires.
Yeah.
People don't just randomly get off in the middle of nowhere and think,
Oh,
"Fuck it,
yes, they do.
this is a
Every
great."
Aborigine ever does.
Yes, Dan. They get off a coach and just start a fire
No, no,
randomly.
no, but just in general, like these barren
I don't.
landscapes are a lot of the areas where they have their communities and stuff, no?
I Yeah, but I think that's just more due to like natural wildfires, the chances of it happening in the area. But yeah, the journey to Mildura wasn't really eventful, was it? To be honest,
No, it's quite
I
nice.
I think in the end, I just we started talking for a bit, but like even like traveling with your best mate for 9 hours sat next to each other on a coach, it's still you just run out of things to talk about. To be honest, like it's just dead silence, and you just sit there and go on YouTube, go on your phone. So that's pretty much what my journey consisted of. Watching a bit of Netflix.
Yeah, it's
But
pretty much sort of, I think that's everyone's journeys. So many people are like, oh, when you're on a bus, it's a great way to meet people when you
ah,
travel. And
fuck
it's like,
no.
I'm sorry, but I might meet you for half an hour. And
Exactly.
then I'm going to be like, okay.
Yeah, I think people get really over enthusiastic on a bus as well when you meet someone new. They're just, oh, where are you going? Where are you from? La, la, la. It's just like, chill, man. I gotta sit next to you for 7 hours.
Yeah,
But,
because there was the guy that we started talking to briefly when we got off on one of the stops, and he was telling us about how he travels around different countries doing farm work in the
oh,
farm seasons, and that he used to
yeah.
be like 250 pounds, but now he's really skinny
I was
because it made him
tiny.
lose loads of weight. And
Yeah. When he said he started smoking or gave up smoking or something and he lost a bunch of weight. But yeah, he
yeah,
went like from polar opposites.
mm.
But yeah, you do. I wouldn't say not on a coach. A coach isn't a good place to actually start talking to people because people just want to just do their journey. They just want
I
to sit
think
and chill.
planes and trains. I just think in general, if it's a short distance you're traveling, then yeah, strike up a conversation. If it's a long distance journey, most of us are like wanting to chill and hope that we can sleep at some point.
Yeah. Because the thing is, if you start striking up a conversation with people, I don't know if other people enjoy it. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just I now feel obligated to talk to you. Like if I'm sitting next to you on a bus, say, like the two-seaters, and you start like you say, "Oh, hello, like what's your name? Blah blah blah. Where are you from?" I now feel like I have to participate in this conversation. I can't back out of it.
Oh yeah.
I can't just go, "Oh, sorry, I'm listening to my music." Like I feel like I'm there now, and thank you very much for that, you bastard. But no. It's talking to people for a little while is fine, but like when it's a stranger and you've got 9 hours sat next to them, and now it's just this awkward. Oh shit! Should I be talking to him? Should I not be talking to him? I don't know. I don't
I
know.
think just base it on the person.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, pretty much, pretty
some
much.
people you'll have a lot in common with and you can chat to for a few hours. Others, they're just going to be kind of like aliens to you in a way.
Yeah,
But
suppose.
anyway, I think I think this isn't something that needs too much of a conversation. Just our journey
Nah.
to the farm. So we get off the bus when we arrive because the place we're going is a place called Mildura. Um, it's this it's this town in the middle of nowhere on the edge of a desert.
Yeah.
Um, so as you can imagine, just from that, it's pretty basic, and there's not too many people around.
It's
It's
dry.
very. I think if you were to compare it in an American way, you'd compare it to like a redneck kind of place. Like we got there, and everyone's sort of
Yeah. Like.
middle-aged and fat, and sort of yeah. I don't know how to describe it more than that, really. And
Yeah.
when we
It's
got
just.
there,
Yeah, what's the word that people call? Um. Oh my god, it's like you've got like the hillbillies in America. What is it that they call them in Australia?
oh, bogans,
Bogans, yes. It's just a lot of bogan people in Mildura.
yeah.
If anyone's listening from Mildura, I'm sorry.
Or maybe you're the cool person. You must know that the other people around you are if you're not aware.
Hey, some English people love Mildura. They committed 8 years of their life to Mildura, so
This is true. Some people. Oh yeah, Nick.
yeah. So
Um,
it's not. It's just an opinion. Some people love it there.
if you like being in the middle of nowhere and sort of yeah, if you like being in the middle of nowhere where it's really hot and dry and
Mm,
there's not many people around, then
yeah. If
it
you
might be
like,
your paradise.
yeah, if you like a very slow way of life, just wake
Yeah.
up,
I mean,
smoke.
imagine the work hostels, aren't there? Because there's a lot of work hostels in Madura.
Yeah, oh,
Imagine
that's what it's
all the
known for.
travelers. Imagine all the travelers there aren't there.
Oh my god, it'd be dead. It'd be nothing.
There's now no one there.
Yeah.
Like,
Nah, it's just yeah. Like well, there'll be no reason to go there. But the main reason that people go there is for the farm work because there's so much of it.
yeah. Well, yeah.
It's one of the biggest places. You've got there's a place up in Queensland. I forget the name of it, but that's huge for farm work. Uh,
There's a few places. There's Bundaberg.
Bundaberg, that's it. Yeah, that's in northern
There's
Queensland.
Innisfail, which is where
Yeah,
we
that's
went
all
the first
banana
time.
farms.
Mildura. Anyway,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter where the others are. But so we get to Mildura and we get off of the bus and we're in the middle of nowhere and we sort of try to work out where we're meant to go and we see there's a supermarket. So we're like, fair enough, we'll go there. Maybe we need to get some stuff ready for when we start the job. So we go there and we buy toiletries and stuff like
so
that,
yeah, I think
just
we bought
ready.
like basic food as well, just stuff that
Yeah.
will keep us going until we can go food shopping, like settling in and that.
So then we had no idea where well, actually, that is what happened. I put the name of our hostel into Google Maps to work out where we had to go. And my Google Maps came back saying it was like a 3 hour walk to get to the hostel. And I was
Yeah,
like, what the fuck? So it turns out the hostel we're staying at, called the Mally Inn, is in a place called Redcliffe.
yeah, not
And
actually in
Redcliffe
Mildura.
is not in Mildura. Redcliffe's about 20-minute drive out of Mildura. So we decide, okay, we're going to have to get a taxi. And we called the taxi, we sort it out, we get in the taxi. How much is it to get there? And
$60.
it's like $50-$60, which is kind of
Ridiculous.
very expensive to anyone who doesn't understand Australian money. It's the equivalent. $60 is about like
40
paying
quid.
£40 for a taxi.
And it's like midday as well. It's not like it's ridiculous hours either.
Yeah. So
they didn't have Uber. Mildura is so abandoned that they didn't have They didn't have Uber there, so that wasn't an option.
So we get the taxi. We're shocked by the price, but we pay it because we're like, what else are we gonna do? I'm not walking for 3 hours when it's this hot, and I've just been on a 9-hour coach journey.
I think it was like 35 degrees. So
we get the taxi and we pull up at the hostel and we hop out, and this guy comes out to greet us, and his name is Zach. And he's like, oh, come in, boys. And we go in and we go to the place and we're talking to him about the work and stuff. And the first thing I noticed anyway is Zach has not got a very professional manner. Zach swears a lot in conversation. Zach's like, oh, it's just fucking work, isn't it? Like, kind of a thing. And it's kind of like, okay, I guess this isn't...
Yeah, it's like, just chuck your fucking bags on the floor and just come in here for a second, boys. It's just like, okay, Zach.
You know what? Zach never annoyed me, but Zach annoyed a lot of other people.
Yeah. He was never too bad to me. Like, he was a nice guy as long as you're doing what you're told.
Zach could lose his temper.
Zach, he was like a little pit bull. Yeah, he was a little pit bull.
So we get to the hostel, we speak to Zach. He's like, okay, give me your bank details. This is the room you're going to be staying in. And then he
gave us a quick tour around as well.
Yeah, and he basically tells us, I'll sort you out with work starting from tomorrow.
Which when we first got there, we were like, oh, sick. Like, that's exactly what we wanted. We didn't want to get there and wait a couple of weeks for work to start. And
so one of the first things you have to do before you actually start working, I guess, is you have to get this card to allow you to work on the farm. You go and do this. You basically go and watch this video, and then you fill out questions that are spoon-fed to you. It's one of many things that Australia does. Every single one of the courses in Australia is a spoon-fed thing. I done the white card, same deal. The RSA, same deal. This, same deal. It's like just something that you pay for so that the government can make some money.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I heard that the guy from The Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, he's the guy behind a lot of those government schemes to make you get cards and stuff. That's what Aiden told me anyway. He got caught out and for doing his penny stocks or whatever it was, and then
I am not very sure about the validity
of this
story.
I don't know. It's just what I heard, mate. So, and I believe everything that I hear. So,
okay. I'm going to be skeptical and say this sounds like a lot of bullshit.
Well, if you're listening to this podcast, you can make the decision.
Yeah.
I think that Jordan Belfort might have been one of those people. It seems like a scam, and he was a scammy guy. So, I'm just saying.
Okay.
I think he did it.
So
this isn't a conspiracy podcast, Dan. All right, come on.
All right. So yeah. So you do that card, and then you're allowed to work.
We didn't do it at the same time, though, did we? Because
I actually had work on the first day, and you went and done the card. I had work at the grape farm.
Yeah. So let's talk about that quick, because like our first jobs on the farm. I'll talk about my first day.
Oh, yeah, your first day was with the pole thing.
Yeah, I forget. It's like poles or something. So it was poles, something like that. And then basically, yeah, I got told that I've got work the next day, and I got told, yeah, you go into this place. It's a polling thing. You just stick loads of poles in the ground. I was like, fantastic. And I went back to my room, and there was a guy in our room called Cockney Dan, and he
Oh
was like,
yeah, Dan and Rob and
oh, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm doing some kind of polling job. And he's like, no, are you? And I was like, yeah, why? He's like, that's the worst job you can get by far. And I was like, oh, great, that's my luck. And it's telling me about literally every single person who's ever went there doesn't get called back for a second day because the guys are absolute animals. Like they apparently they treat you like crap. They work you like till you're basically gonna pass out. Like all that I was thinking in my head at this point is, oh, this is just gonna be another banana farm. I'm gone after day two, man. And but yeah, I was just thinking, oh, do you know, what? I'm just gonna get through the day. If apparently if it happens to loads of people, you know, I'll get fired after this day and then whatever. So
yeah.
you know, I woke up in the morning. I went downstairs to go to my job, and there wasn't like they have cars that take you to your jobs, your placements, and then no car ever turned up. So I'm just thinking, oh, fantastic! I don't have to do this shitty job. And then eventually, like half an hour late, the guy turns up who's supposed to take me to my job, and he says, "Oh, get in the car. We gotta go quick." So I get in the car. We drive down to this place, and we couldn't find it for a good half an hour on top of that. So at this point, I'm an hour late for my new job, and we're driving up and down this street for about an hour, for about half an hour. And I was so convinced at this point I didn't want to do this job. The guy was like, "Oh, look out for this kind of blue porta potty. If you see it, tell me, because that's where we got to go." And we were driving down the road, and I saw this blue porta potty on the left. And then we just drove straight past. It's like, "Oh, did you see it?" I was like, "No, no, I didn't see no blue porta potty, man." And then we eventually we get there, and the guy that I'm with gets out of the car. I think his name's Martin. He gets out of the car and starts
Oh
speaking to
yeah,
these. Yeah.
Martin.
He's actually a really nice guy, really friendly, really quiet spoken. He gets out of the car and like he gets out of the car and goes to speak to these two like massive dudes, like big fat dudes who are like driving their pickup truck, look like proper rednecks. And yeah, and then like they just start screaming in his face about how he's late, blah blah blah, how like, I'm late. And like I can hear like every word, and they were just basically slagging me off because like I'm not the biggest dude. Like I'm like I don't know, just to give you an example, I'm like 5'11". Probably at that point I was like 73, 74 kilos, so I'm not massive. And they were just like, oh, he's not gonna do, he's not gonna do, he's not gonna be strong enough, blah blah blah. I'm just sitting in the back of the car like I really don't care. I, I'm not bothered about not doing this job. They look like absolute pricks. And so he comes back to the car. He's just like, well, you're not going to be doing this job today, unfortunately. We're a bit late and they're pissed off. I was like, I was like, okay, no worries, man. It's cool. It's like, so instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take you down to do your Maydec card. And then you can go off to this almond farm and you can start that today instead. You can start your training and you'll be driving a tractor. I just thought, fucking hallelujah, man. I don't have to do this shit job and I get to drive a tractor instead. I was
Yeah,
like, I was like, yes, thank God for that.
yeah.
So I definitely, oh man, I dodged a bullet. I think if they would like get out of the car, you're working. I reckon those guys would have treated me like absolute shit. So I'm so glad I got out of that. Yeah, so that was my first day at this new place in Mildura. It
Yeah.
was pretty weird. Pretty weird
So
day.
my not just my first day. I was doing this job for the first 2 or 3 days, but I got put on a grape farm, vineyard, and I forget the name of it actually. But anyway, my job was basically a lot better than Jordan's, but still not. No farm work is perfect work. It doesn't matter what the fuck you're doing. You're in a farm. My job was basically there were women there and men, like most of them Asian, and they'd snip all the grapes into the boxes. And so my job was to walk ahead of the track. They had a tractor with a wooden pallet on it, and I'd have to walk down the rows with the tractor chasing me down the rows, and I'd pick up the boxes of grapes and stack them on the wooden pallet, and then we'd go up and down loads of different ones until it stacked about 7 boxes high. And then I'd get behind the tractor, jump on the back of it, he'd drive it back round to the storage place. Then I'd have to stamp them all for where they're going, wrap them up in like cling film or something, and then I'd use one of the trolley things that you pick a pallet up with, and I'd put it in the storage fridge, and then off I'd go again, and I'd done that all day, every day.
That
It
sounds
like
amazing.
it,
Amazing.
it's the problem with that job actually is it's not incredibly hard, but it's constant moving in hot weather because you're in front of a tractor the whole day. The tractor's
Ah,
driving at the speed that the tractor's driving at, and you're
at
just
least you're not
going.
behind it. Just getting all the
Yeah.
exhaust fumes in your face. Fuck
And
that.
then at one stage, I remember because I was a cheapskate, and when it came to getting steel toe cap boots, I got like just cheap non-steel toe cap
Yeah,
boots. So
so
at
did
one
I.
point, when I was in front of the tractor, he put the wooden pallet down, but he put it all the way down to the ground, and my foot was under the pallet, and it just crushed down on my foot. And I was just like, no, 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 no. And the guy's like, huh? And then he lifted it, and like he's Italian, and he comes over, he's like, your shoe. And he just kicks the tractor with his to show his is metal. And I'm like, no. And he's like, no, and kicks the tractor again. I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, you need new shoe. And I'm like, yes, mate. Okay.
Why does he sound like a caveman?
I don't know, because I can't do an Italian accent. But yeah,
You need new shoe.
that was my first job. And actually, funnily, on the second day, because these guys saw, after the first day, they said, we want you back tomorrow, come work tomorrow. And then I got back to the hostel, and basically the guys were like, they haven't told us that, so you're going to go do your card like Jordan did tomorrow. So I went to do my card on the second day, and then I go back to the hostel afterwards, and I get to the hostel. It's Martin, funnily enough, again. And he's like,
Good
oh,
old mine.
Dan, get dressed. We're taking you back to the other farm. And I'm like, okay, why? And he's like, they called me this morning and they're pissed off because you didn't show up. And I'm like, I told you they wanted me back. And he's like, yes, well, from now on, we're just going to guess that they want you back. I'm like, you didn't have to guess. I told you.
Yeah, they were pretty useless at
I got there
their
the
job.
second day, and the two Italians were really fucked up, and the woman was really, really fucked up. And she's like, what the fuck's wrong with your hostel? Don't they understand? I'm like, oh, I told them. She's like, yes, they're just fucking idiots up there. And I was like, oh, okay. She thinks my hostel's idiot. She's not far off.
She was not far off. As the more and more we worked there, the more and more we realized that she was not wrong.
So I think we can speak about Agnello, but I think before we get into Agnello, we should start off we should talk about the carnage that was our first few days
Oh
at
my
Valiant.
goodness.
Because it all went down whilst all this was happening, just
Yeah.
before we properly started at Agnello. But so
During our first couple of days.
we get to this hostel, and it's cool because we've got a couple of friends there, Stina and Dom. So we meet them, and it's cool being reunited with them. But very quickly, Stina, the first time we're with her, she's just like, "Oh yeah, everyone's a bit pissed off at the moment because of everything that's going on."
Yeah.
And apparently, so when we went to the farm, we were told we get paid hourly,
As
and it
everyone
turns
else did
out
as well.
it turns out you get paid piece rate. So loads of people had been like there was a big commotion about the fact that people didn't feel like they were getting paid enough for the hours they were working.
Yeah. I think
And
I was just gonna say, I think the problem was where they were working in the almond farm, a lot of the jobs when they got their first paycheck, it was all to do with the first paycheck, and they worked over 90 hours, which supposedly was meant to be paid at minimum wage, which was $23.86. But they got their paycheck and they had $600 after 90 hours work, and they were just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And that's when the whole kind of situation came out that it's not done on piece rate it's not done on hourly this year. They changed it to piece rate, and it was all to do with this guy who owned the hostel who was just wanting to make more money because he got the contract, and so he was paid a lump sum at the start of the contract for to do all of the work. So obviously to boost his profits, he was just thinking, "Fuck it, I pay piece rate work instead of hourly. I get more money."
Well,
And
no,
that's what
no, there
people were
was a
outraged at.
reason behind it because there's a guy that had worked there the year before as well called Tyler, and he was working this year as well. And he said the reason it got switched to piece rate this year is because the year before this job had been done on hourly, but because it was hourly, everyone had took their time and done it quite lazily, and they weren't rushing to get the job done because they were getting paid anyway. So the main reason it got switched was because he wanted everyone to work their arse off to get the job done rather
Yeah,
than
of
just take their
course,
own time with it.
of course. And that's when this is where it got really stupid, because people obviously were saying about all of this, and and talking about, and then when like talking about how they should have been paid hourly but they were getting paid piece rate, and it
Yeah,
obviously came up they only made $600 for the week, which goes to show what Dan was saying is true. Everyone was just pissing about, no one was actually doing any work.
yeah.
That's why you got paid no money. Because
But
but yeah,
what one
we
of
um, yeah, you go.
so the main thing that came to a head was one of the days that I was there, I'd met Dom in the morning before I was meant to go to work at the grape farm. Me and him were like talking, and there were these group of girls, about 6 or 7 of them, and we just saw it all go down, and it was just Zach and Justin. He was the main guy, wasn't he? It was Justin.
Darren. Darren.
Darren. Okay, Zach and Darren were there. And it was basically just Zach and Darren yelling at these girls and telling them, well, you've all got to leave.
Yeah.
And they're all like,
15
why?
minutes.
And the girls were all just like, they were just like, look, you're the ones that have started all the fuss here. Everyone was fine until you started kicking off. Now you've got 15 minutes to fuck off out of here. I don't care where you're going, but you're not staying here anymore and you're not working for us. And so these girls are basically getting put out on the street by him.
Yeah,
And
legit with
then
nowhere
Dom and
to go
everyone.
either.
So you've got to think, this is all kicking off. And then me and Jordan have just got here, along with another friend we made called Aiden. So
Yeah.
us three are all chatting with each other, like every day, listening to all this carnage. And there's loads of people quitting and leaving and stuff as well. There's like an exodus at this stage. And we're just looking at each other like, fuck, what do we do? Do we leave? Should we go somewhere else as well? Or should we stay? Like,
Yeah, we were really but the thing is, I had no money at that point, so I had to stay regardless. I was in my head, I was just thinking, I'm just gonna have to make pennies for a couple of weeks and then just try and get somewhere else and do another job. But the funny thing is, because you say about Aiden and that, because me and Aiden had to go and do our Made cards together initially. Like Dan did his the day after, and it was when all of this was kicking off, and me and Aiden were going to do our Made card, and we were just sitting in the car with these two other people as well. It's like 12 people from Liverpool, I think, and they were supposed to do their Made card with me and Aiden. And we just got out of the car, and they were just saying, "Nah, fuck this, we're not staying." And then Aiden was really on the fence of whether to stay or whether not to go. But he was in the same boat as me. He had no money. So he spent like some time in another hostel in Mildura, and he got no work there. So he moved to this one. And so yeah, we sat there. We sat in a cafe for about an hour, just like, what are we gonna do? If it's as bad as everyone's saying, we're fucked. Like, it's just just the only thing that was going through my head is every farm like this, surely? Because some people have amazing stories of farm work, and like they save like thousands and thousands and stuff. But every farm I've experienced, everyone that I've ever spoke to has just been talking about farm work like it's the shittest thing in the world. You just get mugged off by everyone,
Yeah.
which is true. Like farms take advantage of travelers. It's fact. Like they use them and then dispose of them because they know they can get away with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, so yeah, that is this all of this is going down, and then this Darren guy, after kicking out these six girls, I think it was, I don't know if it was six, but it doesn't matter. They all ended up having to sleep in a car in the parking of the hostel for a day or so before going somewhere else. They actually ended up doing an article online about the Malian in Mildura. If you want to go and read that, it gives a lot more information on what they were going through and their side of the story and that. But yeah, it was all to do with peace rate agreements and that, and the fact that a peace rate agreement was never signed, so legally they couldn't actually make us work for peace rate. So all of the hours that they'd worked going back had to be backdated,
Yeah.
and he had to pay a bunch of money, and that's where he got pissed off. So that's why he kicked those girls out, I think. Again,
So
I'm just going off of hearsay, but
the funny thing that happened at this point was so Jordan's obviously going to be working at Anuelo. I get told I'm going to Anuelo as well because I'm trying to complete my days. I'm not there just to make money. And the grape farm I'm on is paying cash in hand. It's not on the books. So I need to be on the books. I'm going to go to Anuelo as well. So Darren calls everyone a meeting and he calls everyone in. And basically everyone's in there and he's at the front of the room. And all he says is, this is your peace rate agreement. Sign it now or leave.
yeah, sign
No,
it or you get
no.
kicked out. Literally, sign it by midnight. You've got a deadline until midnight. If you don't sign it, you're leaving the hostel like the other girls. And it was just like, oh fuck. So what do we do? Like, we either sign it or we've just wasted like $600.
So at this point, pretty much everyone signed it. And once the girls were gone and once it was signed, realistically, all of the shit that was going on in our first few days sort of just died. It
You'd
went
think that,
away.
but it didn't. Behind closed doors, everyone's still talking shit
Well,
about us
yeah,
all
yeah,
the time.
of course. But in general, everyone has a big mouth, but no one done anything about it.
Mm.
They were just bitching, really.
Oh yeah, everyone loves a bitch though. It kind of
Yeah.
gets you through it. It gets you through the
So
farm work.
we sign it as well. We're like, fair enough, we'll sign it, we'll see what happens. We'll make our own decision rather than
Yeah,
jumping
pretty
the gun
much.
leaving just because everyone else is leaving.
Yeah.
Um,
You just don't want to get caught up in the freaking whirlwind of it all. You just
yeah,
step back, look at it actually logically, and kind of make your own decision based off of it. The fact is, they weren't actually doing any work, so they didn't get paid, which is, fair enough.
yeah. So, yeah, at this point, both of us, along with everyone else in our room, other than Mr. Andrew Wu,
Andy,
uh, but yeah, everyone in our room's working at Anuelo now. So Anuelo is an almond farm on the desert, and it's about 2 hours away from our hostel. So you have to wake up at about 4:45, 4:30, and then you have to go downstairs, and you quickly have like 15 minutes to have breakfast, and then you're on the coach, and you arrive at work at 7 in the morning. And you have to do this on the way back as well. So realistically, you're getting up by 5 every day, and you're getting back to the hostel at 9 p.m. every day.
it's crazy.
Very long days. Most people ended up falling asleep on the bus on the way there and falling asleep on the bus on the way back because you're working for 12 hours between these 2 2 hour coach rides. So everyone's knackered all the time as well. Um,
It's the worst though, man, because I hated falling asleep on the bus in the morning because, like, I don't know, you'd wake up, you'd have your breakfast quick, and then you go get on the bus, and before you know it, you're at work, and it's time to start work. It's like, ah, fuck. You don't get that kind of time to prepare yourself for work. It's just like, right, bang, straight
it's
into
always
it.
really funny when you get there. So in the morning, everyone's in this cabin until the bosses arrive. And like it's really funny because everyone's just sat and laid around this
Ah,
cabin, looking at
just look
each
like
other with a
zombies.
coffee in their hand, just like. "Ugh."
And you just look at someone and everyone knows what it means. You just look at it and you just shake your head, just like,
Yeah.
and it's just everyone will just do the same thing. It's just like that's the mutual appreciation of how shit this scenario is. It's oh, fuck's sake.
So, should we start our Annuello journey by, rather than discussing it as a whole,
It don't really need to discuss it. Like
each of us discussing the job we were doing and what we thought about it?
we can quickly go over it. It's not that much. It's not that important. Like I
I
drove
don't
a
know.
tractor.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
Of course, I drove a tractor.
You drove a sweeper. You drove a
It's still a
specific kind of
tractor.
machine that does a specific
It's
kind
a.
of job.
It works on a farm, mate. It's a tractor.
I thought we were going to describe our jobs for people that might be interested in doing farm work,
Yeah.
like what you actually do. You're just going to say, I had a tractor. That's not what you did.
No, I'll describe it. Let's go. Let's describe our tractors, mate. You describe your tractor
I
first.
didn't have a tractor.
What colour was your tractor, mate?
I don't know
I'm
why you're
joking.
making this into a deal and ruining the podcast.
I'm joking. I'm joking. No,
Did
yeah,
you not
go.
want to discuss Annuello?
Yeah, but I don't want to spend ages on it.
But this was the biggest part of our farm work.
Yeah,
So how
just
do
go.
you not spend time on it?
No, we can talk about it, but like, there's not much to say about it really. Just go. You describe your job.
No, you go, because I was talking before that anyway. It's meant to be your turn. You just started making fun of it, so.
All right. So where are we at? All right. So we'll talk about our roles in Annuello. So there's a bunch of different roles that you can have. I think there's the shakers. You've got the sweepers. You got the rakers. Is that what you were doing? A raking job? You
Sugar.
were a chucker. And then you've got
You've
a
got
bunch of
people
other
that
ones.
water, you've got people that do the
Yeah, you got the
elevator,
irrigation
you've got
team.
people that do the
Yeah,
bank outs, you've got
yeah, that's
people that
bank
do
outs.
the.
Driving the triple tractor.
There's loads of different
Yeah,
jobs. It's
there
not
is.
just
There's a lot.
driving a tractor.
No, no, I know, but basically you just drove a car, mate. But nah, you like my job anyway. Obviously, I can't really speak for the other jobs, but my job was doing the sweeping job, which I thought looks really cool to start with. Is basically your car looks like a scorpion. It's really cool. It's like the front of it. It looks like it's got this massive kind of rotary blade thing. And it just kind of sweeps all of the nuts from the almond tree. So the shakers come, they shake the trees, all the nuts go on the ground, and they go onto this massive mound. And you've got this kind of sweeper. That's why it's called a sweeper. And it kind of sweeps all the nuts into the center of the row. And what you do is you go up the row and down the row, getting it into a nice neat line for the pickups. That's what they are, pickups. They come afterwards, after me, and then mow over them and pick them all up and chuck them into the bank outs. But he also had a blower on the back of it as well, which kind of blew the nuts. And then that was my job for like 10 hours a day, was just up, down, up, down, up, down rows. And
Although,
the funny thing is, well, I think Dan was about to try and say, is these machines were very, very, very malfunctioned. They probably broke down. I think we had about 10 sweepers, no, 12 sweepers. And in a day, you'd be lucky if 5 of them worked. It's like there'd always be something wrong with them. My one, I think I probably had about 6 sweepers in the time I was there, like 6 different ones because they just were all shit. Like my first one, the up and down, like the main head on it, the spinner sweeper wouldn't fucking work. Actually no, actually I'm just gonna say on my first day working, we were trying to learn how to use them, and I was driving down the road, and I was learning. Nick was teaching me how to how to drive them, and the door just randomly, I went over a bump and the door just popped open, and just smashed against the tree and literally bent the door in half. And I went up the road, came back down the road afterwards, and I was like, Nick, there's a problem. And he was like, what? And I kind of turned the car around to face him, and the door was just bent to fuck. And he was just like, what have you done to it? Like, to be honest, mate, I'm not really sure. The door just went open, smashed against the tree, and just fucked it.
It was great.
Yeah, so he had to zip tie me in, and I had to drive it back to the hub. And then the guy, I forget the guy's name, but the guy that did like all the mechanical work, he just looked at the door and just went, "Yeah, we can't fix that. We're just gonna have to get rid of it." I'm like, fantastic. That is one sweeper down, another 5 to go. And the problem is, well, if it rains,
all the machines broke down.
Yeah, literally every machine was so crap. But there was a problem that if it rained, or even if you were really crap at driving the sweeper, you'd burst the water pipes, and they would flood the whole row. And no one knows, because this farm's so big, it takes a long time for anyone to actually realize that the water's burst. And you'd be driving down a row, and then all of a sudden, your sweeper doesn't move anymore. And you're like, what has happened here? And then you get out, you kind of look behind you, and you've just dug a massive hole, and now you're fucked. The radios don't really work in the sweepers either. So what you have to do is you have to sit there for about an hour going, Nick, come in. Nick, come in. No response, because none of them bloody listen to their radios. So I'm there walking around in a desert at like 36 degrees, kind of waving around, just hoping that someone can hear me and see me. I'm like stranded in the desert, and eventually someone will come, and then they'll have to like drive me to somewhere where one of the supervisors are, and then I have to tell them, and then they have to get a massive tractor out to come and basically dig me out of a hole. That happened a few times. That happened more times than I care to admit. Mm-hmm. And then there was one time, which was probably the biggest mistake that I made. Like the main water pumps are at the end of rows. I was so bored that I was racing someone. I don't think I was racing anyone. I was just trying to get around the corner really quick. And I went around the corner too fast and smashed straight into the water pump. And water, honestly, honest to God, the water was squirting out the ground at such force. It went like 10 foot up in the air, man. And it was just going everywhere. Within like 10 seconds, there was a huge bloody river just going down one of the roads. I thought that was me getting fired. I just looked at it.
The amount of breaks you had, I'm surprised no one ever said, you can't keep doing this.
Honestly, there was so many people broke stuff. It was ridiculous. There was a South African guy who owned the farm. He had to have meetings at the end of the day to tell people to stop breaking shit.
Pierre would do like a meeting with everyone where there was this massive list of things that were going wrong, and like the mechanic was like discussing with everyone. Don't do this because of this. Don't do that because of that. Don't do this because of this.
Stop breaking our machines.
But the funny thing was, he was saying it, and like there was a couple aimed at other groups, but for the most part, it was all just aimed at Jordan's team.
It was all the sweepers, man. The sweepers, because honestly, the sweepers were so broken that, like, in mine, the air conditioning didn't work. Like, it was so bad that, like, it was hotter inside my car than it was outside at most points. So, like, I'd have my lunch, and by the time I go to eat my lunch, I've just got sweaty sandwiches, and it's just like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my kind of experience of working. But it was actually really nice though. Like in the mornings when you're driving to where you need to go to work, or if you're just bored and you can't be asked to do any rows, you just kind of cruise around for a little bit, and you just kind of go and explore the farm. I did that. I don't know if anyone caught me. I just say I'm going to the toilet. But yeah, Aiden was actually funny. He probably won't like me admitting this for him, but Aiden's little tactic. There's so many times where I was like, where the fuck is Aiden gone? I'd be trying to microphone through to him. Turns out, after we finished the farm, he's like, Oh yeah, I used to go down a row and pull up in the middle of it and go to sleep for a few hours. It's like, thank you so much, Ada. No wonder we made no money.
See, I used to yeah, I'll get on to my one.
Uh, yeah, but like I was saying, the best part about that was yeah, just kind of cruising around because I'd go and see like the elevators and that, and you go and see the massive pile of nuts, and I think
I
they were
was
telling me,
doing that job
yeah,
at one point.
yeah, I think they were telling me that like each lorry full that goes out, they do like 10 lorries a day, and each lorry full's worth like 250 grand. It's like they're making a fortune.
Mm.
But yeah, anyway, that was kind of mine. So you can talk about your side of the farm if you want. What you
Um,
were doing.
so when I first started, I was tested out on like 4 or 5 different jobs every single day, and then eventually I got left in one job, which is called chucking, because they had like no one else. All they had was this little German dude who was quite cool. I think his name was Adiz, and he'd never drank alcohol before. And then you had this Australian guy who had no teeth left,
Oh yeah,
who was a meth addict when he was younger.
he was
So,
actually a cool guy. I actually liked him because his
oh,
stories were just so fucked up.
he was racist,
he
really
was
racist. I'll
he was
tell
pretty
you a few of
racist.
the stories about him because he's like, yeah, he was funny because he was dumb. But
Yeah, it was so
basically,
ridiculous. Yeah.
my job, like, we'll do funny stories once we've done this bit. But so my job was basically made simple. I quad biked around the desert and got the sticks out of the way of the other machines. Um, and it was a really sick job because I just zoomed around on a quad bike. It was sort of like my own little version of Mario Kart, just going around sand dunes on a
Oh,
desert.
mate,
Like,
that
yeah.
sounds so fun.
But downsides to the job, we weren't enclosed on our machines because we're on quad bikes, so we got dusty as fuck all the time by
Yes,
all the sand
yes,
if
you
there
did.
was wind because we're not enclosed. And also we feel the heat the whole time whenever we're out. In fact, okay, that's what I can get into. When I first got the job, my job wasn't actually zooming around on the quad bike. My job was raking nuts with a rake through the sand for 12 hours a day into the middle so they're nice and neat for when the machines come to collect. And that job is torture. You are in mid 30, 40-degree heat for 12 hours straight, manual laboring nuts through sand that don't want to come. So you're having to rake really hard. And it's just physical torture in the heat for 12 hours, really. Um,
It does
but
sound
once
like a
I
pointless job, to be honest.
once I got the quad bike, that was sick though, because then it was like meow, and off I went, and that was really cool. I remember I also managed to break quad bikes a few times. Usually I'd just be motoring along like meow, and then suddenly the quad bike would stop and a flashing light would come on and an alarm would go off and I'd be like, meow, 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 and I'd be like, all right, calm down. So I'd just hop out my quad bike and one time I was zooming along this road, and what they do if it's a really boggy area because the vehicles can't handle it, they put tape along the roads. So I get to this area and the tape's not there. And I'm just zooming through, and I see it's quite open space, like there's not many trees, and I'm like, ah, sick, I can proper zoom through this. Well, I go to zoom through it, and it's really boggy, and I spin out on my quad bike and hit the mire, and I'm when it comes to still, my quad bike's like facing up at the sky, and so I go to get out the left hand side, and as I go to get out the left hand side, I just see this big brown snake, and I'm like, oh no! So I shut that door and I get out the other door, and off I go, and I go and find people. Other things that are cool is like as you're zooming along in your quad bike, you'd see parrots and
Mm.
kangaroos and pigs all running away because like they'll be like, oh no, you're almost like catching us. Um,
Yeah, man, seeing the kangaroos down the roads was so cool. The amount of times I just like got out of my sweeper and just went and like took some photos. And then yeah, I remember there was like a family of like 10 pigs once. I was like, what the fuck? Why are there pigs in the bloody desert?
Yeah. It was a weird job though. Like it's one of those surreal experiences. It's like you never expect to be like, oh, what did you do for a job? Oh, I quad biked on a desert.
Yeah. I can say I will never drive a machine like that again in my life probably.
No,
So it's once in a lifetime experience. So
but
I'm
one
happy.
going back to our gap-toothed friend, um, because that's basically the full story of what my job was. It was quad biking around a desert. Um, really cool, but also 12 hours a day, very tedious. It gets boring just going up and down, up and down, up and down. It'd get to the point where, like, sometimes the other machines would be gaining on us. So I'd just hop out a row and drive 15 rows ahead, and then that's where I was going from. And I just skipped 15 rows, and no one would tell as long as you've done the ends. So it's like, okay, I'm going to get paid for those 15 rows that I just skipped now. Um,
Cheeky bastard.
but like, yeah, so there was one specific. I'll tell two different conversations. One's very racist, and the other one's just really thick. Okay, so the racist one, we were in the quad bike at the start of the day, driving out to where we're driving, and he's in there, and he's telling me and Adiz and the other person we're with. I forget who the third one was, but we're driving with him anyway, and he's just like, oh yeah, whenever I see whenever I see Aborigines, you know, Negroes, because apparently we wouldn't know the word Aborigine, but yeah, you know, Negroes, I just hit them, and yeah, we're there, and
Oh
we're
my
like,
God.
what the fuck are you saying? And he's like, no, you don't get it. When I was a kid, the Aborigines used to come and hit me. So now, when I see them, I go up and hit them. And it's like, no, that's
That,
not what this means.
that
That's
is
not okay.
no, no,
So
no.
like we're listening to him say it, and in the conversation, he's literally using the generic thing because of our reactions. Like, oh no, I'm not no racist or nothing. I've got black friends.
Well,
Like,
doesn't
he's
not make you a
using that
racist.
cliche thing, right? So that's a really bad one that he had. And then the second one, which was more funny, was so my quad bike had broken down, and at any given time when your thing breaks down, you go to the hut at the center, and in the center there's like usually about 10 of you because loads of you have broken down, and you're all just chilling and chatting. And he comes back for his lunch, and I'm there with another English guy. I think I forget what his name was, but we're both sat there eating, like talking to each other, and the Australian guy's on the other side, and he just randomly pipes up and he's like, "So, have either of you fellas ever met the Queen?" So me and this other guy are just sat there like, "No," and he's like, "Oh, what about Prince Harry and Prince Philip?" And we're like, "No," and he's like, "Oh, stuck up, are they?" But it's like, no, mate. It's just that you don't hang out with the royal fucking family. That's not something that every English person does.
Yeah, it's like that's what everyone presumes when you're English. Just like, ah, so you drink tea with the Queen, do you? No,
uh,
mate, no, we
but that was like an incredible conversation when I had that with him because it was one of those moments where you hear him saying it and it's kind of like, what?
don't. Oh, wow. So what do they think of us back in England?
But
What-
yeah, that's sort of Manuelo. One thing I will say for it is, so another funny thing is wherever you were working, you had Pierre, and
Oh
he
my
had
God.
his pickup truck, and he'd drive his pickup truck around, and he'd like drive past you and pull up behind some trees. And
Yeah,
he'd try and sneakily peek at you to make
he
sure
did.
you were working, thinking you wouldn't see him.
I'm not even joking. Once I honestly saw him. He was out of his pickup truck, down like a couple of rows further than me, like hiding behind a tree, just watching us. It's like I can see you. Yeah, you're wearing
His
your high vis.
his job was hiding and sneaking around.
Yeah.
Like, That's
Oh, mate.
all he did all day.
Thought he was
And
in
there
the
was
army
this
or something.
one time, okay, so the guy I just spoke about with the teeth, he got fired, and literally, it's the only time I've ever seen Pierre smile. Because me and Adiz were talking to Pierre, and we were just chatting in general about work, and we're like, oh yeah, the Australian guy hasn't shown up today, and he's like, yeah, and we're like, what? And he's like just smiling. He's like, huh, that's what you get when you're shit. With this massive grin on his face, and me and Adiz are just like, okay, mate, this is the first time I've seen you happy, and it's because you fired someone.
Oh my god. There was that one guy as well who smashed up the side of his pickup truck, wasn't it? Or not his, I forget what it was, one of those pickups. He like wrapped it around the tree pretty much. And then he got fired for that because it was like 20
Oh
grand's worth of
yeah,
damage. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
Alex, that little
yeah.
Alex guy, I think his name was.
I think
I
I
don't know.
think most of the Australian guys that worked on the farm all ended up quitting or whinging.
Yeah, yeah, they all quit
Yeah,
within like a week. There was that one tattooed dude who just literally spent all day whinging. So
complaining.
there was that really cool German dude. I forget what his name was. He ended up doing the raking with you.
Oh, I know you're on
Chicken.
about. He learned English through watching television, and he
Yeah,
just talks forever.
yeah. He was such a cool dude. He had a little good morning song. He was a really nice guy, and like he just write down all the English words on his arm. By the end of the day, he has like a tattoo of English words down his arm, and it's just like I learn English. It's like yes, mate. You learn English, man. He was fun to talk to. I remember I used because he used to do the sweeping with us and just listening to him on the radio, like, guys, where are you all? It's like, where are you?
Yeah.
Where did you go? Because like we'd all be going because like you normally go from left to right, and I swear to God, one day we were going left to right, and he was in a row ahead of me, and then I was coming back down my row, and then he was coming down my row, so we just kind of like bumped into each other. He got
Yeah.
out and he was like, "Oh, I went down the wrong row." Yes, mate. Yes, you did.
Yeah. And then so we should okay. So that's Annuello wrapped up pretty much, right? So what we should talk about is some of the bizarre or funny stories. Because like one story that comes to mind, and you've got a second opinion on this, but so we get a 2 hour coach to and from work every day. And one of the days we're going back from work, and our driver Barry
Barry.
decides to
Oh my
drive
god.
off the road, and the bus is going crazy, and the bus almost falls over with all of us in it and kills us. So we're like so close to death. Basically, Barry, the driver,
Yeah, he must
almost
have.
kills all of us.
Yeah, he must have been like what 80 years old or something ridiculous. I'm pretty sure he could barely even drive. Like honestly, I how to describe it? Like I feared for my life every time I got on that bus. That's it was yeah.
It was
We
one of those surreal moments when that happened, though, because I literally remember looking out, seeing desert and not the road. And in my mind, it's one of those moments where you literally think you're about to die. So you just
mm,
start thinking about all these things. It's like, oh my God, I'm
yeah.
dead.
Because what happened? He was driving on
There
pretty
was
much
a
the
lorry
opposite
on the
side of
other
the
side
road.
or something.
Yeah, but he was taking up our road and half the other side of the road and swerved last minute to miss this other lorry that was coming in the opposite direction. Went all the way out of our road into like the ditch on the side of the road, and then that's when we started going doo, 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 just shaking everywhere,
Yeah.
and like people were like fucking screaming on the bus, and it's like what the fuck is
And then
going
he
on?
pulled over in the petrol station briefly.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
he pulled
ooh,
over. He was just laughing about it when we got off the bus, though. Dude, you nearly killed us all, and he's just sitting there chuckling to himself. It's like,
yeah.
fuck me. Okay, you got a psychopath driving us. Yeah, that wasn't the only time he nearly killed us, but there was another time as well. We were going to our job, and the same
This is
petrol station.
after I'd left, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, same petrol station that he pulled in after he almost killed us the first time. and he was pulling into the petrol station, like taking a left. And as he was turning in, obviously misjudged it because, like I said, he should not be driving a freaking car, let alone a bus. And he came in and just scraped the whole side of the bus up against a lorry that was parked. It just drove it, and like there was one girl who was sleeping with her head against the window. It was quite funny. Me and Aiden were just watching her, and then people like started going, "Oh fuck!" kind of, and then she woke up, turned, and she just had the face of a lorry like 2 inches from her face, and she shit herself,
Yeah.
which that was quite funny. But then, so yeah, so obviously he's like scraping up like good meter just scraped down the side of the bus. So, like any rational person, you decide to reverse straight into the middle of a busy road. So he like, and the speed limit on this road is 140 kilometers an hour, and he just decides to reverse into it. And we look to our left out of the window, and there's a lorry speeding at 140 kilometers coming straight at us, and everyone was just screaming, "Barry, stop!" So he slams on the brakes, and this lorry just barely misses us. And it's like, for fuck's sake, I cannot get in this bus with him anymore, man. He's going to be the death of me.
Yeah.
Soon after that, I quit.
Yeah, man. Barry was not good for
Not good for my heart, man.
continued life.
I'm telling you, man. I had severe anxiety and PTSD after that journey.
You know,
Jesus.
this was this. So Barry almost made us crash, right? But one of my favorite stories, at least, is my my experience in the car with Stina
Oh, yeah.
going to get food. So basically, there's loads of different cars, and when you go and do a food shop once a week, uh, everyone drives different cars to the petrol station as well, so they can fill them up with gas, and then you go and get your groceries, and then you come back. So I go with Stina, and Stina sort of, we're getting in this car, and she's like, I don't know how this one works. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm like, okay, well, we can't get in this one then. So we swap with another person who's driving, Maya, and so Stina's now driving the other car that I'm in, and we go in that one, and we drive, and we get to the petrol station because we get lost as well. She drives the wrong way to start off with, and then afterwards we find our way back because you got lost as well, I believe, but somehow
No, we knew. I swear you followed behind us.
we lost you.
Eventually, oh, I thought you were following behind us. Now, me and Aiden were just driving in one little
Yeah,
minivan by ourselves. We were fine.
but anyway, so we get to the petrol station and we pull into the petrol station, and Stina's driving around towards the petrol pump, and I'm like, okay, and then Stina drives into the petrol pump, and literally she smashes into it. Bearing in mind it's a petrol pump, right? So if she'd have hit it hard enough, we're talking an explosion that would have definitely killed us. So Stina almost kills me on this occasion as well. But we tap the petrol pump, luckily. She puts the brakes on because I warn her. I'm like, Stina, the petrol pump. She taps it, and then where the petrol handle is, she breaks that, so the thing's falling off. And she's just sat there shocked. So I get out because it's obvious that the people in the petrol station have seen this happen. So I get out and I'm trying to hook the petrol pump handle on the thing, but she's broke it. So I put it, and the petrol attendant comes out, and it just falls back out. And she's like, "Did you just that?" And I'm just staring at Stina, and I'm like, "I can't help you." And they're like, "This is fucked." Like, so
There's literally nothing you could do.
the insurance details and stuff are swapped, and Nick's just stood there again. He's like, "What the fuck happened here?" That kind of a thing.
Oh my god.
And then so we go to the food shop.
I don't know. I was just saying as well because the funny thing is, at this point, me and Aiden are in the pump next to him, and we're just looking back, and Dan's just pissing himself laughing, and Stina's just telling him, "Dan, it's not funny. Stop laughing. This is serious." And he's just laughing in her face.
It's ridiculous. I've never experienced this. I'm just like, what is happening?
That was crazy. Me and Aiden were just like, "Should we just go?" And just like, "Yeah, fuck it." I didn't want to do that. It's so bad. Christina's a really good friend, but there's
Yeah,
nothing. There's
well,
nothing
she
we could have
laughs
done.
at it now as well,
Yeah,
to be
there's
fair.
nothing
If,
you could have
when
done.
we get her on the podcast, we can chat about this from her perspective. But
Yeah, definitely.
it's such a funny story. She recently had another problem with a car, actually, but this one's a lot more serious. Like, she got in a car crash, and the
Oh,
car
really?
that she was in, that she was renting, got really totaled. And now, like, because of insurance and stuff, it's gonna cost her like a few grand of her
Holy
money.
fuck. Well,
Uh,
she totaled the car.
I don't know how it happened. She was just in a car crash, and the car got totaled within it. I'm not
So
sure if it
obviously
was
she
her
must have been
fault or the other
driving if
person.
it's.
Well, yeah, no, she was driving. She was
Mm.
in it. I'm just not sure whose
Who
fault the
was?
crash
Yeah,
was.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But I know because it was like so damaged, she's got to pay out for that probably.
Fuck.
But yeah. So that was one of the funnier things that happened on the farm as well, I
Yeah.
think. Um,
I'm trying to think of funny things that happened. Obviously there was whilst we were at the Mali Inn, there was someone kept stealing all the food. Like people would make food from the night before to have for lunch the next day, and they go to get it in the morning, and they would just disappear. And it's like, who stole our food? Turns out it was one of the guys in our room, the most innocent person ever. Wanted to be like a medical student and this and that. He ended up being the guy. He just got known as the Bolognese thief afterwards. Oh, and what about the Phantom Wanker? We weren't there for it,
oh,
but
George.
if we ever get a guy called Rob on the podcast, he can tell you about the Phantom Wanker. But
Yeah.
basically, he used to just masturbate all the time in his bed, and he'd have like a sheet over the bed covering him. But because the window was right next to him, and the sun would shine through and make like a silhouette of him on the sheet, so you just see the silhouette just knocking one out all day. Apparently
That
he'd
would
like
be so funny to see, man.
apparently him, Rob and Dan were just standing talking one day and like literally like maybe 2 feet away from them, you just see this silhouette just going at it. You just look at it and you'd just be like, well,
Oh, dear.
what's he doing? But I imagine because apparently he used to make excuses as well to go into his bed. He's just like, oh boys, I'm gonna go chill out for a minute.
Yeah, because he didn't think that it would be known. He thought the
Before he
same
was
as
being
people who
sneaky.
have sex in a hostel. They think the sheet is all ending. It's like no
Oh
one
yeah.
knows what's happening
It's like,
now.
yeah, it's like, oh, we're being so oblivious. Nobody knows. It's
And
like
then
they think they're in their own separate room. It's like, no, fuck off.
I guess we could speak about the Malian in general, like
Uh,
what we thought of the hostel and if we would recommend any other traveller go there.
because we can talk about the night that we went out. We only ever really got one day
Yeah.
off in the Malian, so
Yeah,
we decided to
so
go into Mildura.
literally one day off in the entire time there.
Yeah,
Um,
it was good. We made the most of it.
I got
Like,
very drunk.
yes, I
Very,
did.
very
I got
drunk.
very drunk. So we decided, all as a hostel, to go out and kind of get drunk, go to a nightclub in Mildura. I forget what the name of the nightclub was. I don't think that really matters. But yeah, we all
It
just got
was
really
crap.
fucked up. Yeah, we just got really messed up, and then ended up coming back to the hostel. Unfortunately, nobody pulled. But
But before getting back, so I don't remember this, but I get chucked out basically of the club
yeah,
because of how drunk I am. And then Stina's sort of looking after me and helping me. And at some point, I slap her phone out of her hand and break it. And
why would you do that?
I don't know.
It's just the way she described it. You just kind of stared at her for a minute, like dead eye, and just went bang, just slapped the phone out of her hand.
And then after that as well, I think I get back and I go to McDonald's with a load of the other guys from the farm to get food. And then I come back and then so I don't remember from this point, but in the morning I wake up in the bed and the guys have just drawn all over me and like my first thing waking up in the morning is I just open my eyes and I've sort of slept with my arm here and I pull my arm back and just written in front of my face it just says cunt. And I'm just like because I'm half asleep and kind of hungover, I'm like, why am I a cunt?
You are, mate. But
I
so the story that led to that. Well, we got back from the bar, the nightclub, and I think it was me, Aiden, and a couple of other people just chilling out in the games room. And then Dan stumbles in, fucked out of his face, eating a Big Mac, and just kind of slumps into this couch, smashes. I think you like broke the arm of the couch falling into it, and you just kind of fell asleep with the Big Mac, the box just like on your chest. And I kind of just looked at Aiden, was like, we should draw on him. It's like, yes, we should draw on him. And then and Andy Wu was there. He's the one who got the markers, and he came out with the markers, and we just went to town on you, man. I think we drew all sorts of derogatory symbols on your body, and just wrote many profanities on you. I think we gave you like prison tattoos on you. I think we gave you a little teardrop on your eye. There, we gave you a little spider web on your elbow.
yeah.
uh, it was so funny, man. Because you kind of just every now and then you just kind of go "Rrrr, rrrr," and then just fall back asleep.
Nah. Uh,
But yeah,
good
man, that was
times.
fun. It was fun. There's been
Um,
a few times that we've drawn on you. We did it once in Melbourne. Me, Ricardo, and Jesus drew all over you. We put macaroni in your mouth as well.
I don't remember that
It's
time.
because you were pissed, mate. It's because you were drunk. I've got pictures of it. Yeah, we put macaroni up your nose and in your mouth and in your ears. No, we put carrots in your ears, actually, mate. And then we put peas in, just peas on your eyes. It was funny, man. It was funny. You look like a very healthy individual.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really fun drawing on Dan when he's drunk.
So getting back to actual farm though. Mali Inn. What's our opinion? Okay,
Would
well
we?
we've
Would we?
we've been to two farming hostels now, yeah. So what's our opinion on what a farming hostel is like? Like, what's our opinion on the accommodation itself? Do we do we recommend farming hostels?
No. No, I do
I
not.
I didn't think the Mali Inn was too bad. They had like a ping pong table and stuff to play with as well. Like
I think.
bedrooms were all right. You had a drinking area out the back.
I think personally, uh, when it comes to doing your farm work, there's far better options than going to work in hostels. You can go to places that are outside big cities. You can do it in Adelaide. You can do it up in Brisbane. Um, Basically, just get your white card and do construction. You're guaranteed hourly pay. You can sign up to like Workpack and places like that, like basically recruitment companies, and they'll find work for you as long as you keep pestering them to ring them up every day. Do that, and yeah, you get hourly pay. Normally, you get decent jobs through it as well. It's mainly labor work, but I'm pretty sure women could get it as well, but you're more likely to get on to those jobs as a man. So that's a massive option. I would 100% recommend that over a farm to get your
So
days done.
your advice is just don't do it.
Don't do farm work, personally. I think you're extremely likely to get ripped off. I've heard so many horror stories from farms. I think maybe not even 10% of the people that I met traveling have had a good experience on farms. The cost of rent at a working hostel is ridiculous and is not worth your time because it's very limited. The resources that you get there, they generally charge you for travel, which is more money on top. The free time that you get is ridiculous. The only farm work that I would recommend to do is solar farm, solar farm work, because if you can get on that, you're a very lucky person.
Oh
I
yeah, you
tried to
make a
get on it.
load of money.
I tried to get on that for a long, long time. The amount of money that people have made on solar farms that I hear is crazy. You're making $2,000 a week, $2,000 a week. So that's the kind of farm work. Obviously, there probably is really cool farm experiences like working
A lot of people
with
do say
animals.
a lot of people do say that it's their best experience.
It depends on the people, man. I think you can. I think the work's always going to be pretty crap at a farm, but as long as you go there with a good group of friends or you meet a good group of friends, you can bear it. You can do it. At that point, it's like you are living for the weekend in a kind of way. You get your work done out the way.
Well, you're not living for a
Just
weekend because you don't get the weekend off.
in the farms as we did, but I know some people that did actually get the weekends off and they'd actually, enjoy it. Like at the banana farm, but if we actually stayed there till the weekend, apparently the weekends were fun. They used to
Yeah,
have they used
yeah,
to do
they
like
go
themes
out
and
and do
stuff.
themed things. Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of it
Um,
is your perspective on it. I think if you get in a working hostel with a good group of people and they do give you a day or two off a week, then you can have a really good time, in my
yeah,
opinion. It's just if you're gonna do it, make sure where you're going. It's not about the working hostel. It's just make sure as much as you can before you go that it's hourly pay. I
yeah,
think any farm job, as long as you find one that's paying you by the hour, you will have a good time there. You will make money there, and it can be a good experience. We just rushed into both of the farms that we worked at,
yeah,
and also we were unlucky with where we ended up. We
yeah.
we ended up at a banana farm that ruined our bodies and also didn't offer us many hours. We weren't doing it, it would have been a lot of the people that we met there in the day or two we were there had told us that they had less money now than when they got there. So that's one of the other reasons we left there, as well as the work being shit.
Yeah.
And with
Um,
the almond farm, it was more a case of we were working every hour under the sun, so the work hours there were great. It was just we weren't getting paid enough for working that many hours. So what you need to find is a healthy balance where you'll get similar hours to what we did whilst at the second farm, but has a similar sort of vibe and party atmosphere on a weekend as our first hostel would have. So
yeah.
you need to sort of meld them together. We sadly got one thing but not the other thing at either hostel we went to for work.
Yeah. I got 2 points to make quick. I think my first point is that when you go and do farm work, I think it doesn't matter what job you're going to do, the job's going to be real shit. You're going to work long hours. But the best way to cope with it is just to have a laugh. Like it sounds obvious, but just take the piss out of the work, like with
Yeah.
everyone you're with, because everyone's going through the same situation. Like you're all there doing the same shit job. So just try and have a laugh with it. Make it as fun as possible. Kind of just muck about whilst doing the job as well as you can, and just yeah, try and enjoy it because it's shit and everyone thinks it's shit. Like the last thing they want to hear is you moaning about it when they're having a shit time as well. Just, try and be positive about it. That's the best piece of advice I can give for that. And also the second point I just want to make quick is the way me and Dan did it was really bad. We waited, obviously it's more my fault than anything else, but we waited way too long to start doing our farm work. I don't think you should wait until your money's getting low before you do your farm work because that's when you panic in to go into a farm. I think you should go to a farm with that kind of leeway still of I can go to the farm, try it out. If the farm's bad, I still have enough money where I can go somewhere else because the main reason to do your farm work is to get the days done, also save a bit of money. But I don't think your focus should be making a huge chunk of money because the amount of bad experience that I had, well, that we had, and other people that I know had, chances are you're going to get put on a shit farm to start with. So, in order for you to get the best possible farm for yourself, it is have enough money where if the farm's shit, you can leave because, yeah, chances are it's going to be bad. But then you just kind of And go off of what other people have experienced as well. Don't just ring them up and they'll go off of what like the manager's saying, because obviously they're going to try and sell their farm to you. Go online, go on like the Facebook websites and that Facebook
Australia
things,
backpackers,
yeah,
stuff like
stuff
that.
like that, and then post like, I've been looking at this hostel. Can anyone give me their experiences of it? And people will generally be honest with you because they got fucked over, so they don't want other people to get fucked over.
Yeah.
And some people will have good experiences with it, and then they'll tell you, and then you try it out. If you don't like it, it's not for everyone. Go and do something else. But yeah, I recommend solar farm work or construction work in non-major cities. That's my advice.
Construction's probably the best thing, just because it pays really well. You're on $26 an hour usually as a starting thing, as a minimum,
Mm,
and
yeah,
also you can just have a normal life doing that. That's just a normal job in a way. It's like you kind of can do 40 hours a week and then have the weekend off, and you're just living in a city with your friends. So you
exactly.
don't
It's
have to
another
go
benefit.
you don't have to go into the middle of nowhere to do the job either. You just have to go into the right areas of Australia where it counts towards completing your days if that's the reason you're doing it.
Yeah,
A lot of people, like Jordan said, the reason they go to a farm is because they don't have the money to be in the city anymore and they need to go somewhere to make money.
yeah.
And
And you
sadly,
panic
in a lot of the cases, they end up going somewhere where they can't make the money and then they're stuck. Um,
pretty much. You're stuck, and you're just watching your money slowly go down. You might be losing like $50 a week, but you're not making money. You're getting your days done, but you're fucked at the end of it. So,
yeah.
so yeah, just don't let yourself get low on money, man. That's one of the worst mistakes that I made whilst traveling, was letting myself get under like $1,500, because it's so hard to get back out of it, because you're always struggling to find work. And yeah, when
I think
it's
we
not hard
always
to find a job.
found work really easily
Yeah,
in Australia. I think
yeah,
it's easier to find work there than in England.
yeah. But it's just, once I got under that kind of $1,500 mark, I found it very hard to save money after that, man, because again, it was my attitude towards it. I definitely should have had an attitude of, I need to save money more. But other people had more money, so they were all going out and stuff, and I didn't want to just be sitting at home all the time. So I saw people going out and enjoying themselves, and I was like, nah, fuck this. Go buy a box of goon and go and join them. So never saved any money, unfortunately. But I hope to God that people can listen to this and just be like, what an idiot, Jordan. And you go and do it different and actually have a great time. Because I had a great time as well, but it's not, I would have liked to actually go and do some cool stuff like the Great Ocean, no, the Great Barrier Reef, and
Mm,
skydive.
yeah. So I think that sort of wraps up our farm experience.
Yeah,
What I will say is, if you're listening to this and you're listening to our opinions, understand that these are coming from a place where we had bad experiences on the farm.
yeah,
So you shouldn't just take our word for it. You might go somewhere and have a far better experience than we did. But
definitely.
from our perspective, and that's all we can give you, there are definitely a lot of farms out there and working hostels out there that will con you into, especially if you're in a vulnerable position. Like we said, if you're in
Oh,
a
yeah.
vulnerable position to start off with and you go to a farm not knowing everything about it, you could very well find yourself in a world of trouble that you cannot escape.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's easy to tell the people that are vulnerable when they turn up to a farm as well, because like they'll just, yeah, just any job, please, just any job, man. I'll do any work, any hours. You're gonna get fucked over by them. They are gonna take advantage of you.
yeah.
Uh, However, saying all this bad stuff about it, like we were saying earlier, we'll never have an experience like that again. I'm never gonna work on a freaking tractor in a desert.
Yeah.
So, you
And
know,
we made some really good friends during our time in Mildura
I'll
that we
100%.
actually continued to journey
Yeah.
forward with. We were
I
with them for after that.
Yeah, I spent probably 6, 7 months with Aiden and Rob, traveling with them after the farm. And the thing that bonded us was how shit the farm was. So, you'll meet some really cool people. I think if you're on the fence of doing it, if you've got money and time,
It's
go
worth the experience
and
just to
try
say
it.
you've had it.
Yeah, go and try it.
Um,
If Yeah, just don't get caught with no money going to a farm because you will really get screwed over.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
that's yeah. I hope that no one's in that position, but yeah, just don't put yourself in that position, man. It fucks you over really bad.
At least from our experience and the majority of friends we've made's
Yeah.
experience. There are people that done different. Dom, he worked on the same farm as us, but he saved a fuck ton of money. So even where we were in
He was on
Mildura,
hourly though.
there's situations where you can make a lot of money. It's just our experience. That's what you've got to remember here, guys. All we can say is what we experienced.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Obviously, I can't speak for every single farm in Australia. There's obviously some really cool ones. Like
yeah.
I think like I know someone who worked on a horse, like a farm, kind of working with horses and stuff. Like I think they were moving sheep and cows and stuff, and they were riding a horse around to do that. That would be really freaking cool.
Ah,
I
and the
would love
girl
that.
that we met in our room the first day,
Jessica
she worked at this cow farm thing,
was
and she really enjoyed that. Yeah, because she got crushed against the gate by one of the cows, remember? And
was it a cow or a lamb? Because she said wasn't it a lamb that
cow,
was like spazzing out in an electric fence?
I'm pretty sure it was cows.
It might it might have been cow. I don't remember. But yeah,
But
she
yeah,
said that there was like a little. Actually, I don't know if I should be talking about that.
yeah,
Never mind. Don't worry. If we ever get her to come on the podcast, she can explain if she wants to.
yeah. But okay, so I think that pretty much wraps up our farm experience. A lot of lows, not very many highs. Met some cool people during it though, and it was an experience. It's something that will always stick with us because of A, how shit it was, and B, the people we met there. So it was worth it in the long run just for the stories that have come out of it.
Oh yeah, we got loads of cool stories.
Yeah.
But
So that will do for this episode. Next episode, we will hopefully try to get a guest on for you guys.
hopefully,
But if we're unsuccessful, we'll continue our story. And this is actually the stage at which, for a few months, me and Jordan went our own ways.
yeah,
We had our own experiences. Jordan stayed in Australia. I ended up coming back to the UK and then going to the Netherlands and then Asia as well. Um, so in the next discussion we have, it'll be both of us sort of speaking about our own individual journeys, what it
yeah,
was like solo traveling for us, what we learned in that time spending it with other friends, and also sort of giving each other an insight into what we got up to whilst the other one wasn't there.
yeah.
Um,
I don't really know much about what you got up to away
yeah,
from me.
yeah, it was really cool. I really enjoyed Asia. It was one of the highlights of my journey, I'd say. Um,
Yeah, well, fuck you.
but yeah, until next time, guys. If you like this, follow along. We have another episode next week. Subscribe, and yeah, bye.
See ya. See you next time.